A few weeks ago, here's David. A few weeks ago, I was reflecting at night and I asked myself, how did I become the way I am today? I asked myself. And I looked at my life and I felt a complete unrelatedness to everything and everybody. And everybody. And then I looked at the album, the photo album of the pictures of my childhood, and I felt a total disassociation from it. And then I looked at my uncles and people I knew and people that I was told they were my family. And I felt non-connection. And that was the answer. How did I become like I am today? Next day I told David, I have a piece of advice for you. Don't pay any attention to what I ever told you, to what I ever did, to what I ever said. You have to find your own clue, your own vibratory frequency. Then I was reflecting, did I find it along the years, or was I born with it? So the question is there such a thing as development? Or you come with it, the conjunction of the moment in which you take your first breath. I'm still thinking about it. And where I am today is that we come with it, and there are events in life that remind us. And most events in life tell us to forget, so that adaptation takes place. Society is built on adaptation. Now, if it would be evolutionary adaptation, we'd be in heaven. We'd be operating at the maximum potential. And that maximum potential doesn't look like this civilization. Because this civilization discovers one thing and then repeats and repeats like a parrot 100 billion times till it wears out a system. But how would we be operating if we would come to our maximum potential? And I only have one word for it: free. We would have inner freedom. We would be free to be, to do, to participate, to not participate, to have, to not have, to play, to not play, because we would be fully identified with life. Fully identified with life. And life has cycles. And we wouldn't be afraid of any of the cycles, because we would know completely that who we are is life. We are not our name, we're not our surname, we're not our job, we're not what we know, we're not what we don't know, we're not what we did. Definitely, we're not that. We're life. And it's very simple, and at the same time, hard to realize. Why is it hard to realize? Because we are surrounded by a planetary so what? Yeah, your life, so what? We're all life. So what? Who cares? Be real. What are you doing with your life? And the answer, living it to its evolutionary fullest, doesn't seem to be enough, because we have projected into certain stuff manifestation the execution of the functions of living. We're a stuff-oriented society. So much stuff that it's dense to breathe here. I mean, it's even dense to breathe in the stratosphere, because we've put so many satellites out there, that you can't take a full breath. You can't do a real pranayama because it's full of stuff. We're stuff-manifesting creatures. Now, dogs and elephants and little birds seem to live. They're not so productive, but they've been here from before us, and they're going to be here after us. What's their secret? How come they sing? How come they're so happy? How come they love? How come they feel? And how come they don't build weapons of mass destruction to destroy their own species? What is off with this aggression? that humans seem to manifest more and more using intelligence and science to perfect it. And that's a point that needs to be looked. Where do we learn so much aggression? And going back to the previous statement I made, it's not in early childhood. I think this is brought and reenacted at birth, because the trauma of birth can explain better people like Paul and Hitler than the neglect of early childhood. Because a lot of people get neglected in early childhood, and we don't have these mass murders, these Ted Bundys, these serial killers. There is something that occurs entering this world that is very associated to death and killing, to aggression and violence.
I've read about more people studying early childhood trauma. Today you talk about Stanislav Grof. There was Arthur
Janov, yeah. Primary screening.
Yeah, primary screening therapy, which was huge.
Yeah.
I wasn't alive then. I was born in 1988. But the books that I read seemed as if the more literature that they were putting out on this, the more society would say, what is this?
Yeah. There was a great rejection to the word of Orr. There was a great rejection to the word of Wilhelm Reich, even in the 40s and 50s, because it is very threatening to look at certain things, and there is an unconscious reaction in society. Don't rattle the boat. Don't rattle adjustment. I mean, to speak about the trauma of birth immediately rings a bell somewhere, and people reject that. It's very confronting. You know, you're right, the 70s, there was a lot of research around that area and a lot of action in body work also. The body armors that happen in a fraction of a second around the first breath. The trauma of the so well accustomed slap in the back for the baby to take the first breath. I mean, can you imagine? Breath is all we do throughout the whole life, and the initiation is a hurtful slap of an adult hand in the back of a baby. And that was considered normal birth. Yeah. Now, we've covered this up with a Freudian principle that there is childhood amnesia, that all psychologists tend to believe it is so. Yet there is sufficient experiential demonstration that people have intrauterine memories, perinatal memories, past life memories, which is against traditional psychology. But I understand traditional psychology. It is a field within a field within a field that cannot take it all on, so it specializes. Today it has contracted itself to behavior. So instead of looking at every phase of psychological development, it needs to deal with certain behaviors that it can't handle.